welcome once again to the next episode of Shifting Focus, a talk with Sanjay Gupta. I hope all of you are absolutely safe, sound and healthy and taking care of yourself and nears and dears. Let me briefly start with the introduction. I'm Sanjay Gupta, work with DS Group as VP and head its packaging development and procurement vertical. As you know, here in this show, I invite thought-provoking, most influential global business leaders, game changers, and inspiration models who speak their mind about various issues arise due to this current pandemic and way ahead in rapidly changing business landscapes. Today is really exciting interview as I have invited Mr. Stephen J. Shifman, CEO Michaelman Global. Michaelman is global developer of water-based coatings solution that helps produce environment-friendly and responsible and sustainable packaging, which is the need of the hour. He is with us live from Cincinnati, USA. Michaelman has their global headquarters in Cincinnati, USA, and global developer of water-based coating solutions that help to produce environment-friendly, responsible and sustainable packaging, which is definitely the need of the hour. I'm repeating it because we are talking much about the sustainability in today's interview. There is a great responsibility and accountability on them to save this ecosystem. Mr. Stephen attained a master's degree of business administration from Xavier University, USA. He is with Michaelman for the last 14 years and increased its EBITDA multifold and expanded the company presence outside ESA. He was named as the first Ernst & Young entrepreneur of the year 2013, I believe. Am I right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Stephen also holds leadership position on multiple boards and member of various organizations across USA. I once again welcome Mr. Stephen on this show.
Thank you, Gupta ji. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be with you.
Okay, namaste to you. We have also Mr. Shailesh Nima, MD, Michaelman India, with us today. He will be discussing and highlighting points from an Indian point of view. He has done his master's from Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. He has also done his PhD from Helsinki School of Economics and now has been leading Michaelman India as an MD. I would like to welcome Shailesh on this show. Shailesh, welcome. And Uditi is also with us, who will be helping all of us. Uditi, welcome on the show. And I request all viewers to ask their questions, if any, in comment box, which shall be answered by me or Michaelman team, which will definitely help the industry. So now I am opening the floor for further discussion. So my first question is very, very important. That is sustainability. I believe there are 4 pillars of sustainability as human, as we are, social, economic and environmental. All are interdependent, but first 3 pillars, human, social and economics, are responsible for destruction of 4th pillar, environmental, which has been just realized as most important human existence. For human existence. Is economic development at the cost of environmental degradation justified? I think it's a very, very important question in today's scenario. As a responsible corporate, what do you say? And how to keep and enhance the positive sustainability impacts long-term in post-pandemic world? Please explain your viewpoint.
Well, again, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be with you. And you've started with the most important question of all. So let me answer by saying, first of all, that Michaelman is a purpose-driven business. Our purpose as an organization is to innovate a sustainable future. That's the foundation of everything we do as a company. And that's one of the reasons why we have been so successful in bringing people like Shailesh and Aditi and others into our organization, because at Michaelman, it's more than just making money. We really believe that we are here to make a difference in this world. And at Michaelman also, we measure our success by what we refer to as the triple bottom line. You know, the bottom line normally is thought of as the financial bottom line. And let's face it, we're a business that needs to make a profit, because if no profit, then our shareholders don't get a return on their investments. And also we can't continue to invest in the future. But the other two bottom lines for us are people and planet. We are strong believers that there really is no trade-off amongst people, planet, and profit, except for time. And what I mean by that is that we will do better financially over time if we also invest in people and planet. We may make less money this year because we're putting more investments into people and planet, but we can sustain our business for the generations to come by balancing equally amongst people, planet, and profit. Michelman is family owned by my family, the Michelman family. We've owned this business for 71 years. We plan on owning this business for at least 71 more years or more. So we're not in a hurry. We know that our objectives will be met over the long term by continuing to focus equally on people, planet, and profit. And that's one of the beauties of a company like ours that is not, we think, because it's not publicly traded, we have the right to do what we think is right for the long term. And our family shareholders are completely committed to this triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit. So I may have answered your question the long way, but my short version of the answer is that we believe it's ultimately the most responsible thing we can do as a business to continue to invest in the betterment of our planet and the betterment of the people who are part of our business and with whom we come into contact, and that over the long term, it will be incredibly beneficial financially at the same time.
So as an organization, you are doing all this work, but how will you involve the society into this? Because it is very important to society to understand all these issues and come forward and contribute to this ecosystem, so that at least we can give something to our next generations.
Yes, I think that's a really important question. I can talk about this and write about this regularly as I do, but ultimately I have to show people through our success that this is possible. You know, it's one thing to talk about people, planet, and profit. It's one thing to say that we will do well financially over the long term, but ultimately we have to prove it with our actions and with our results. And as I said, I'm thrilled that we've been here for 71 years, and this has been our belief for 71 years. And every year we continue to make these investments and do what we hope is the right thing. We can create more proof points for the world to show that this is in fact possible. Michelman is not only a successful business financially, but we also are a generous business. We're very involved in communities. In fact, we do global days of community service, and most of our leaders and associates serve on community boards and agencies. And so through those actions, we show people that this is important to us. Again, through the investments that we make, through the long-term success of the business, I think we can prove to people that not only can we talk about this, but that we have the results to back it up.
And just to substantiate the purpose of Michelman to innovate a sustainable future, in India, we invested in an innovation center in such a way that any brand owners or converters can walk into our premises. They could ideate on the packaging structure. We can make the packaging structure in the premises. We can test the packaging structure for different barrier properties to make sure that it is as desired by the product. And all this facility and the infrastructure is available to them without any commercial expectation. And this has been used. So as a contribution to the industry or to the society, we have invested in this packaging incubator, which is virtually free for all end users and converters to use.
I think this is a great.
So that also underlines our purpose and how we are putting our purpose into action into different
initiative on Michelman's part. And when I was studying about Mr. Stephen, so what I could learn Uh, I think he was named as the Ernst and Young Entrepreneur of the Year 2013 winner for demonstrating extraordinary excellence in the manufacturing sector in the areas of innovation and financial performance. So means it is very difficult to make balance in innovation as well as financial performance. So I think this is great. But how can you inculcate all these things into the society? Because without profit, without revenue, no organization can survive. But at the same time, you need to invest in R&D, in the innovation, so that at least future generation can get something from what we are doing as of now.
You know, Mr. Gupta, I think I've come to realize over these many years of doing this that we can't convince everybody. But what we hope to do is convince the right people who are willing to join us in this long-term view. You know, look, we understand how economics work, and we know that many publicly listed companies have shareholders who demand results today. You know, many private equity owned businesses have shareholders who demand EBITDA growth today because they're going to sell the business tomorrow. And that's certainly fine in our economy. We know that that is part of what makes the economy go. But again, one of the beauties of a company like Michelman, and unfortunately I know in India there are many like Michelman and others who are owned for the long term, patient capital, is that we know that our place in the market is because of our commitment to things like innovation and our commitment to sustainability and our desire as a family to own the business for generations. And so we measure success over decades and not quarters, you know, and that's a privilege of a company like ours. And I'm not suggesting we are that unique. There are many companies like ours, although perhaps not as many as you and I would like. And so what we hope to do again is have the commitment to stay the course, to live by our purpose and our values, and then slowly bring more companies along to join us who are willing to have this long-term view, like we're willing to have this long-term view.
Yeah.
So we can't get everybody, but we want to get the right
capitalism,
people. I'm sorry, Shailesh.
the concept of conscious capitalism, which you have talked about multiple times, Steve.
But Shailesh, there is a very, I think, what I'm saying, it is a true but bitter question. You people are in the industry for so many years. Mr. Shifman is there for the last, I think, so many decades. I'm in the industry for the 30, 40 years. But I think all of us are responsible for the degradation of this environment. We should accept this now. Why we are not accepting this? Why we are talking about that what we have done great?
That's the reality.
Yeah. But I'm optimistic about Aditi's generation, you know, because she's closer in age to my sons. And I look at Shailesh's son and I look at people, I mean, I think, not to write off old guys like me, but I think that there's a younger generation of business people who recognize that it is the responsibility of business like ours to have a positive impact on the world. You know, there was a whole period of time during the 70s, 80s, where I think we got off track, where it seemed as though there were many business leaders who thought the only purpose of a business was to make more profits for its shareholders. And trust me, I'm a capitalist. I am not against profits, right? Profits are necessary for us to live the way we like to live and for us to be able to invest in things like the MICC in India. But profits at what expense, you know? We believe, as I've said before, in whether you call it conscious capitalism or triple bottom line, we believe that institutions like ours have a responsibility not only to our shareholders, but to all of our stakeholders to do our part to try to make the world a better place. Yes. And how do we do that? We do that by working with great customers in places like India who want to find more recyclable packaging, more environmentally friendly coatings. And it takes this ecosystem of people like Michelman, of converters, of brand owners to work together to make long-term change. And you know, as I said before, we can't get everybody, but if we get the right people, we can make change. And luckily, as Shailesh said, we're finding many of the right people in India, some brand owners who care deeply about this, converters who care deeply about this. And if we show that we can do this and make money doing it, then maybe we get more converts to our cause.
Exactly.
If all we do is do good, look, I like to do good. As I said, I'm on community boards and things like that. My wife and I are philanthropic and charitable. We believe in that.
I think
But in a business, if we can find a way to do it and make money, then we get people who want to join our cause.
Exactly. But at the same time, what I'm saying, that all of us should confess that we have made a mistake and we should correct it right now. Already we are running very late.
I think so. But it does ultimately take all of us. You know, luckily, my family and I own our business. But if you're a publicly listed company, it's harder. And there are some very, very fine publicly listed companies that want to do the right thing. But they also have shareholders who demand a return, like right now, you know, and so that tension is a challenge. But we see some great publicly listed companies who are making real progress in this area. So it's possible. It's just harder, I think.
But I see that we people can follow you. You are so active in social life. You're on the board of various organizations, on various bodies. So you people at least can guide the society to move forward.
We're trying, you know, we're trying, but we have to continue to be patient because it doesn't happen overnight.
So
I heard something last night that somebody said that was very smart. They used the analogy of losing weight. So let's say somebody wants to lose 30 pounds. You can't do it overnight because you didn't gain it overnight, you know? You gained it over a period of time, you've got to lose it over a period of time. And I think the same thing goes with this kind of behavior. We have generations of, let's call it, bad, less than good behavior. It's going to take us generations, or maybe not generations, but at least years to undo some of this. But we have to continue to create proof points, as I said, to show that it's possible. And you know, Michelman's on a journey. This is what we believe. Luckily, there are many other fine companies who believe this. And I think the more we can show that we can invest, we can do the right thing and still earn a profit, I think we show people that this is possible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, it's a very connecting question. You have answered it partially. I think Shailesh would be better to answer it from Indian perspective. What I'm asking, corporate like Michelman have social, moral, and ethical responsibility towards humanity and biodiversity of planet, which are part of the ecological reforms required to be implemented in accordance with the green economy philosophy. I'm talking about the green economy philosophy. Industry is looking forward to a mass-scale, economical, global supply chain friendly packaging solutions such as multifunctional barrier coatings for paper, films, and foil, which can eliminate the need for complex, expensive, and unrecyclable multi-layer structures, making it possible to create packaging that is recyclable, repulpable, and industrial compostable using homogeneous mono-material structures to a circular economy. So what are some effective ways to reduce material consumption in everyday life while maintaining livability? What are your plans?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And in Indian perspective, if we speak, most of the non-recyclable packaging is emanating from flexible packaging structures. So the first thing which we have to do is that when we are designing the flexible packaging structures, we have to design them in such a way that they become recyclable. And we have to use all the 3 R's, which are very, very critical for us, is reduce, reuse, and recycle. And this is very, very important for us. And in terms of designing a packaging structure, I think in your question, you have answered the question, answered this and said that we need to have packaging structures which are homogeneous in nature.
Yes.
The moment we are in a position to put a positive value positive recycling value to all these flexible packaging structures, we will start seeing that these flexible packaging structures which are becoming part of these waste mountains, they will disappear from there and will end up in the recycling units. So your answer is that yes, we have to design them in such a way, even if it is coming at a slight premium, that premium is good enough to cover the environment for the future generations. And I think the government is also taking the right step in terms of formulating the regulations, which are suggesting your line of actions, which is homogeneous packaging structures.
I think more than what we are doing because of government regulations, this is corporate responsibility also to come forward and work towards green environment, like a less carbon footprint, or a solar renewable energy, or a water conservation. I think in these areas we need to work as a corporate culture. So what do you think, Shivman, about this?
Well, I agree with you. And I think, like I said earlier with my example about losing weight, you know, we're not going to lose the 30 pounds or the 30 kilos overnight. So I'm not an expert when it comes to energy, but I believe that the immediate future is going to be a combination of old energy and new energy. You know, we're probably going to continue to rely upon coal and other kinds of things that we might not deem to be as clean as we would like, as we continue to introduce more green and cleaner energy into the environment. You know, I think wind is wonderful, but the wind doesn't blow every day. Solar is fantastic, but we don't have sunshine every day. And so how can we do more solar, more wind, even more safe nuclear, while at the same time we begin to wean ourselves off of some of the dirtier fossil fuel driven energy, you know? And so that's the challenge, is to be able to find a way to do them in balance as we add more of the better energies to our portfolio. How do we begin to unwind ourselves? But at the same time, we have to run industry and feed our people and move our people around. And so we have to do it in a way that keeps the economy going while we're changing over to better environmentally friendly solutions. Way easier said than done, of course.
Mr. Stephen, I was talking to Michael Mann and Mitsui and other people also, because people are looking forward for virus-free packaging. So can you develop some kind of coating by which we can endorse that our packaging is virus-free? Because this is the need of the hour. What do you say about it?
What I say about it is, one of the things that Michelman will never do is make claims we can't substantiate, you know? Yeah. So we know that we have many people in the marketplace who like to make claims that sound wonderful but can't be substantiated. Michelman has for generations been expert at creating barrier coatings. We're involved in the glove manufacturing industry. We're doing a lot of things that we think can be beneficial to help to protect people. But you know, at this point, we have no claims of virus-free coatings that we can make. Shailesh, how are you answering the question when it comes to you at the MICC?
Exactly the same way. In fact, if anybody is claiming that his coatings are virus-free, that claim cannot be substantiated. And like Steve said, that Michelman would not get into something which cannot be substantiated scientifically. So while our coating may help in reducing the virus, in making sure the virus doesn't stay on the surface or so, but we are not in a position as of now to claim that these coatings are virus-free. And in fact, nobody is in a position as of now.
So can we,
because this claim cannot be substantiated.
Do you have any plans, or so that not right now, can we do something after 1 year or 2 years? So do we have some target to develop something on these lines?
You know, I'll tell you that one of the things that I think that we do that is potentially beneficial, but it's peripherally beneficial. I'll give you an example. In my home, when groceries get delivered to my home, my wife and I still are in the process of wiping everything off and cleaning everything. Does it work? I don't know, but we're doing it because we feel better that we do it. And when a flexible package comes into our home and it's got the right barrier coatings on it, it probably makes it easier to clean, you know? And so some of the things that come to us probably have Michelman coatings on them, but I don't think that we can say, as Shailesh said, that it's because of Michelman coatings that we're preventing the virus. I think it's a really good question. We're not doing active projects now because that just hasn't been our line of business. We're continuing to work on the sustainability and work on good barrier coatings. And if we find that they're virus protection, that's great. I don't know how else to answer the question. Shailesh or Aditi?
So there is a request from our side that please work on these lines.
Okay. All right. We will.
For you, in India, we are working on an enhanced shelf life. Because of enhanced shelf life, we use a lot of foil or lots of metallized polyester. So can you provide some solutions in which maintaining the same shelf life, we can remove this foil or metallized polyester from our structures?
Now, those are some areas where we can actually have really good conversations. Shailesh, you might talk specifically about some of the work being done at the MICC on those objectives.
Yes. I think one of the key requirements when we work with the brand owners, they come up is that we want a packaging which can deliver a better oxygen barrier and a better moisture barrier in the package without using the substrate like you have mentioned, foil or maybe polyester, which is making the packaging structure a multi-layer, hence not recyclable. So we have coatings which can improve the oxygen barrier as well as moisture barrier, and we can deliver this in both paper as well as film-based packaging. So we have specific products designed and in use by multiple applications wherein we improve both oxygen and moisture barrier,
I think
which in turn enhances the shelf life of the product.
I think this shall be very beneficial for the industry. I think including us, a lot of people must be working with you on these lines. So I think industry needs to be educated on these lines so that as soon as we can get away from metallized polyester or foil, it will be better for the industry.
Well, and back to one of the points that Shailesh made earlier in our conversation, because of the MICC, we actually have samples and examples of these products today that we can be sharing with people in the marketplace. We've been able to make some of these packages along with partners who are converters, and we have proof points. We have things that we can share right now today.
Okay, I think it's a nice contribution for the industry. So now I would coming to my last question, which is very, very relevant in today's scenario. Concerning the topic of sustainable finance, what would be the implication of divesting from fossil fuels? What kind of economy would this imply? Is there, however, any evidence about physical possibility of having an industrial global economy for 9 billion people without fossil fuels? Is there any evidence of the production and distribution of renewable at any scale entirely without fossil fuels? If so, can it be scaled up? Or when talking about an economy based on renewable, what sort of economy would this be? There is a lot of negativity all over, which is quite obvious. So what would you say about this? Because as Stephen has explained in last so many interviews and just now also, that sustainability of business is also very important. So are we talking only about theoretical, or it will be practical also in future?
Well, I always think about what my next career might be, and I don't know that fortune teller will be one of those careers, but I can tell you what Michelman is doing, and then I can again tell you how I think things might unfold in the world. First of all, from a Michelman standpoint, we do a lot of research today in our laboratories on potential for petroleum-free solutions to the products that we sell. And we have many today already that are petroleum-free. We can create solutions, whether it's for barrier coatings or additives that are based upon natural materials. We do a lot of work with bio-based materials, things like that. So we're doing our own research to be able to find ways to solve problems in the industry with petroleum-free materials. We're not there yet today. I mean, we have solutions, but we also have solutions that have some petroleum materials based in them. So we'll continue to invest and do research into capabilities and technologies that will use more and more natural materials. I mean, Michelman's been doing that for decades with various natural waxes and other materials, but we're doing more and more today. We are looking for ways to eliminate solid waste from our manufacturing facilities. We're looking for ways to use less and less energy in the manufacturing process. So the things that we can control internally, we are putting a lot of effort in. But granted, we're a small company compared to the rest of the world, but we want to do our part to show that it's possible to slowly get away from some of these fossil fuel type solutions, whether it's, again, in our products that we make or in how we run our facilities. On a global basis, there's tremendous tension, as we've already talked about. There are more and more people in India and in China and other parts of the world who are coming into the middle class, who need transportation, who need fuel for their cars or for the trains, who need heat for their homes and things like that. And so at scale today, there just aren't enough renewable or green energy solutions yet. But research is being done and more products are coming online. And so, you know, I think you're going to find more developed nations who are finding ways to back off from coal and other kinds. But then you find more developing nations that need more of this energy today because their population demands it. But I hope that with more and more proof points showing how, this is Steve Shifman speaking, I don't speak for anybody other than myself in this case, but the more we can scale solar, the more we can scale wind, nuclear, when done well, is a very safe and very clean kind of energy. But of course, it has all kinds of challenges associated with it because of problems in the past, whether it's in Japan or in the United States. So being able to develop alternatives that are safe and scalable while slowly weaning ourselves off of the fossil fuel-based energies, I think would be our path forward, but we have a long way to go. I'm not an energy expert, but like the rest of us, I'm concerned about this planet. And that's my hope, is that we can find ways to wean ourselves off of some of these fossil fuel-based energies, but we have to be able to create at scale alternatives. And I know that work is still early.
What do you say, Shailesh, about this as far as India is concerned, because of the population we have, the population density we have? What do you say about this?
Well, in terms of, see, we are at a very primitive stage in terms of the energy requirement. If you see in terms of power, 75% of our power generation is still coal-based. So there is tremendous room for the growth of sustainable energy options. And if I further narrow it down your question and try to put it in a summary way, then if you are in a business which is not environmentally sustainable in coming future, then I think it is not the right business to be in.
Yes.
So in terms of the future prospects, it is must that you are in a business which is aligned with the sustainability of environment. So that is key. If I have to pass on this to the next generation, like Aditi's generation, then that should be my advice to them.
And bringing
and
it
Aditi,
all the way back.
Michelman is the right company for that.
Absolutely. But bringing it back to Guptaji, bringing it back to one of the first questions you asked, not only is doing what Shailesh just suggested the right thing from an environmental standpoint, long term, it's the right thing from a financial standpoint. If I at Michelman or Shailesh at Michelman wants to attract talent like Aditi and others into our business, if we are not doing the right thing from an environmental and sustainability standpoint, they don't want to work for us.
Very important.
My sons are in the ages between 28 and 34 years old. they do not want to work for a company that doesn't care about the environment or equality for women or other people, right? They want that generation, which I admire this generation for, wants to be associated with companies that are doing the right thing. So long term, this is the right thing to do, and it's the right thing to do financially. That's why this balance that I talk about, you know, there isn't a trade-off if we're smart about this.
I think very, very important insight which you have given. Stephen, there is a last question from my side, which I always ask. There is a lot of pessimism in the industry, among the people, industry, all around. So are you still optimistic? Should things will improve in mid-term or a short-term or a long-term tenure?
Well, I am absolutely optimistic. First of all, that's how I'm wired anyway. That's my factory setting, is to be optimistic. But I'm also realistic. So I believe that we as human beings have the capacity to get better. Look, in the United States right now, it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult everywhere, but in the United States, we have the pandemic, we've got economic challenges, we have social unrest, and we have a very contentious political process right now with an election coming. It's hard in the United States. But I'm optimistic that we will get through all of this, and long-term things will be positive. It will be hard in the short term. We will have challenges, no differently than India is having challenges now with the pandemic and other problems. But I remain optimistic about the long-term potential, because I think the human spirit will ultimately orient around doing the right thing. You know, we're a surviving species, and so I'm not kidding myself into thinking it's going to be easy or a straight line or without challenges, because we've got many challenges ahead. But I'm optimistic that there are enough great companies out there and enough well-intended people, and we're going to figure all of this out over time. But we're going to figure it out.
As of now, nature is punishing us for our deeds. So in future, definitely nature might help us also.
We have to pay attention to Mother Nature, because in the end, Mother Nature always wins. We can't beat Mother Nature, so we have to pay attention and do the right thing by Mother Nature.
Very right, very right. So I think it was a very lovely and informative discussion with you. And I would thank you once again, all of you, for joining us today for this wonderful discussion. I think the viewers, they have got a fair point of view and perspective coming in from different parts of the world. Your insights have been very valuable, and I'm sure that people will be able to relate and learn them. Thank you so much for coming on this show. Namaste Prasangi to all of you.
Namaste. Thank you, Gupta ji. It was my pleasure.
Namaste.